Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Friday, January 12th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action at the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market, along with taking a peek over there at the stock market as it gets set to open in 3 minutes from right now. Of course, we take a look at precious metals like gold and the US dollar currency index like the DXY. And then lastly, we take a look over there at any type of financial news that is going on to start our day, or any type of crypto news to start our day. Obviously, yesterday was a big day, one of the bigger streams we've had in quite some time, of course, because the Bitcoin ETFs did launch live during Markets in the Morning yesterday. So we spent a lot of time really just focusing on that and staring at those. Very interesting to see. Something that we kind of thought would happen for a very long time. We have the big event, the big EUPHORIA event happen as we do hit the 618 retracement level over here on the Bitcoin price chart. This is a little blippy boop thing that we've talked about here for a long time, that would be my target for where Bitcoin would head back to for the last year and a half. It's been a long discussion of that. Yesterday, I did finish selling. I am done. I've finished selling all of my Bitcoin, all of it, from back during the FTX collapse. Anything accumulated, it's all been sold. The only Bitcoin that I have remaining is the stuff that I had from back in 2018 and 19 from down in here. I have 35% of it for those who were around at that time. Likewise, I was the same as I am now, publicly announcing that I had sold my Bitcoin shortly after Tesla had announced that they had added Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Seems to be right in line with my behavior. Give us the biggest news, and then that's when I'm letting go of it. So all my Bitcoin kind of got released right all throughout here, and now I am done. We have hit the retracement levels. Now, Bitcoin has been pulling back. Bitcoin in the red. Look at the altcoin market. Lots of green out there. You have Ethereum even there, knocking on $2,700 door. Just kind of that big excitement time where, it's kind of like we had capital inflows come into the market, but of course everybody YOLO FOMO buys Bitcoin. Now it's time to watch the big thesis get proven right, which is what I think will happen, or wrong, but I think it will. That, the big rotation and the big events now are going to be, distribution of Bitcoin by JP Morgan and BlackRock onto retail investors, while all that other money just rotates around chasing yield. And so I've already recorded a video today. It's 23 minutes long. I have one final listen to, then I'll have it up there, where we really dive into that whole topic. We're really talking about this is the topping of Bitcoin, and what's going on with the altcoin market, and how the time is coming. And you'll see that on the charts. So I'll show that. I'll show everything on the charts, and there will be moments in there where your jaw will drop and you'll say, oh my gosh, I sold my altcoins to buy Bitcoin yesterday. You're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. It'll be fun. So that'll be released about an hour after the end of this Markets in the Morning. So any dominance discussions, probably going to just, if anybody's asking, just divert to the video that we're going to have today. And altcoin rotations and stuff like that. Because now it's time to put up or shut up, right? It's time for it to all start happening in here. Bitcoin topping out. It's time to see the altcoins move. And as you can clearly see on the right side of the screen, even though Bitcoin has so far rejected from the 618 retracement level, we are seeing green over there in the altcoin market. So I'll take that all day long. That yesterday we did have extreme greed in the market. Of course, that is to be expected. We have a huge narrative of the banks are now selling Bitcoin to us as we hit the 618 retracement level. And yeah, it's bittersweet, man. To get to these moments, I always told you, no matter what, I'm kind of always on the enemy list because I'm usually not running with what the sentiment of the market is. The sentiment of the market, obviously, is like, no, Bitcoin's going to go to the moon, and I'm on the opposite. And then when we're in extreme fear, I'm on the opposite, right? So it should be a moment where I'm like celebrating victory and being really happy. But go check my Twitter comments. People hate me, which is normal. It's normal. But yeah, there we go. This is exactly what we said for the last year and a half that we would get here, that we'd get to these moments. And I always told you I'd sell, and I told you this too. I said I'd probably sell on the day of the ETF. Sure enough, I did. So I'm done. I'm completely out of all the Bitcoin that was purchased down in here. Bitcoin was my number 2 holding for the whole ride up. Bitcoin now being at only 8% of my portfolio, 92% in the altcoin market. Bitcoin drops number 4. So Bitcoin is now usurped by XRP, Cardano, and Ethereum. So those are my biggest holders. And yeah, that's where we're at. So there you go. We hit the retracement level. I'm trying to make it very publicly clear. I have sold all my Bitcoin. That's it. That was good enough for me. Good luck to anybody who goes beyond that. So I'm here for the big boy money. I'm not here to play. I'm not here to play with, hey, we're up 5% in the last month. I'm here for big boy money. Okay. Now, moving on. Let's do something really quick. Normally, we jump into all the other stuff. First of all, altcoin market. Total 2 up over 1%. Others up about 2/3%. Total 3 up 0.5%. Bitcoin down 1.5%. It's down to 45,600. Let's go check on these guys real quick. Here is the ETFs. So ETFs open gap down, looks like. All the Bitcoin ETFs are in the red versus yesterday's close. I'm not gonna give too much guessing on this. I mean, I could see this I could see them finding some support soon. And here we are. We're basing this on a 5-minute chart of 1 day worth of price history. But it was essentially big aggressive selling. It found support through all the day. What would that be? That'd be like you're selling climax, and then this would be a secondary test, right? But again, we're looking at 5-minute stuff. But I would not be surprised if they find a little bit of stability at some point. Just because I wear a tinfoil hat. And this is while retail investors do believe they are winning by it finally being validated that it has an ETF. Like, my mind immediately goes to down the track of being like, no, what happened was all the banks were buying up all the Bitcoin down here. They've also been holding it for all these years, and they've found sophisticated ETF products to distribute it onto retail with the people that you've claimed to be the enemy for forever, BlackRock and JP Morgan. They're the ones selling it to you, and you think you've won. That's where my mind goes, right? That's not mainstream. I'm not falling in line with what I'm supposed to be saying, right? I'm supposed to be saying this is super awesome and this is super great, but that's really the way my mind goes. And I always talk about magical unicorn fairy dust, puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God in a simulation. They're selling it to you right here. That's just when you spend this long battling to get back up there, and then that's where it all happens at. That definitely leaves you scratching your head, and we'll look back on it in the future. We'll look back to that moment and say, was that it? Right now, of course, we don't know. We're waiting. But I've taken the action as if it is. On my portfolio, I've taken the action on Bitcoin as if that is the top. But we'll look back on this at some point and say, that was it. So we'll see. But obviously, the altcoin market not phased, and that's the thing that's the thing that I'm really excited about. Like I said, I'm 92% in the altcoin market now. So LFLGO. Let's go. All right, let's go look at what's going on in the market now. So Bitcoin, after hitting its retracement level, now back down to it hit as high as $49,000. Now back down to 45,546. Total 2 continuing to march up higher. The altcoin market has been marching up. Ethereum now at $2,672. XRP, after bouncing up, stalling out. Let's take a look at this. We'll go like real small time frame. I'm still gonna guess there's like another move to come up here to like 64 to 65, and then it'll tame out a little bit more. Otherwise, we may already be in the tamed out area. But I still think there's probably one more before we kind of tame out for a minute. And then we are then set up for, like we're talking about, the juice running out of Bitcoin. The excitement has left Bitcoin, but there's a bunch of new capital inflows into the cryptocurrency market that are ready to be distributed and processed into other areas that produce yield. And that's all it takes. Like you guys know jealousy capitulation. You know what it feels like if you watched Solana taking off and you were in something else and you felt that pain, right? Bitcoiners, there's a lot of money sitting in there. There's a lot of people who made a lot of kind of emotional decisions in the last couple of days to drop their altcoins or just plow new money into Bitcoin, who are going to be sitting there watching things start to take off. And it just starts a chain reaction, one by one by one, and they just start moving and moving and moving and moving. And that's just experience of being here through multiples of these types of things and how they occur. I don't think we have seen it yet, but I think we're on the cusp of that event happening, and that can usually last a couple of months or less, sometimes only about a month. But I think that's where we're heading to. All right, there you go. Dow Jones Industrial Average up, kind of a mixed morning before the stock market ended up opening, but the Dow is now up 87 points. This is another thing, too. I wear the tinfoil hat, just where the ETF is being released at, right? You know where Bitcoin was created, right? It was created at the bottom of the great financial crisis, right down here. This is the inception of Bitcoin right here. And then an ETF product gets released for it right here, where JP Morgan and BlackRock get to sell you their Bitcoin. That's an interesting dynamic to have happen in there. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, Dow Jones up 77 points, S&P up 19 points, NASDAQ up 53 points. Metals are having a good day. So silver is up 70 cents. Gold is up $32 up to 2,061. So there you go, 2061, fighting back to come back alive for gold. Let's take a look at the DXY. Don't have that chart open right here. DXY still sitting at 102, still just stalled out right there at 102. Again, this thing had hit its 50% retracement level, pulled back. Still going to suspect that was probably it, but we're just kind of waiting for something to happen in here. Otherwise, Bitcoin just getting hammered after ETF day. But the altcoin market collectively, total 2 up nearly 1%, others and total 3 are all up. Let's go look at those ETFs now. ETFs in the red to get the day going. There goes Valkyrie, Galaxy, Grayscale, ARK, Fidelity, Bitwise, Franklin Templeton. I think we get the picture. I think we get it. BlackRock. You get the picture. So there, the ETF. There you go. I see a lot of like hopium over there on Twitter. Like they spend a month being like, this is the big moment. This is where we go to the moon. And then it launches and like all the hopium is like, did you really think, like the same exact accounts, did you really think it wasn't going to happen? Did you really think we were just going to go straight to the moon? It's like, yeah, you were like perpetuating this narrative for a long time that it would. But this is normal, right? Like there's people who are definitely getting, this is a huge opportunity for somebody to sell. Somebody is able to get out of the market in these types of situations when an ETF launches. Just going to have to wait and see if it finds any type of stability. But definitely not the narrative perpetuated that this would be the catalyst to send it to the moon. It actually just hit a retrace level with extreme greed with retail buying from JP Morgan. So we'll see how that goes. And I know I'm being kind of a jerk, but it's not really to be a jerk. It's like, wake up out of that slumber that you're in. If you're buying into all this stuff, wake up for a minute here, dude. Look where you are. Look what we've talked about for a year and a half. Knock it off. Wake up and think clearly for just a second. I bet the Bitcoin community and the silver community are going to become best friends because now that they've handed the reins over to JP Morgan to be able to control the price of Bitcoin, it's going to be like the silver people, that JP Morgan is manipulating the price of silver. And I'm going to bet that's the future. That's the future of Bitcoin now. Anytime there is negative action, they're going to say the banks are manipulating it now. And that's going to be the cost of when we're in the red. Get ready for it. The banks are manipulating it. They're trying to buy it at cheaper prices. They're controlling the ETFs by pushing the ETFs down so they can buy spot price for cheaper. That's the new Bitcoin. Anti-bank, now totally dependent on banks. Kind of crazy. You could almost call it a banker's coin. OXRP OGs would get that. But all right, there we go. I'll knock it off. But seriously, we hit the retracement level on extreme euphoria, on massive expectations with extreme greed. And we spent a year and a half talking about retracement levels. That thing. So, caution for Bitcoin. Caution for Bitcoin. I have sold. So there you go. I want to make it just very clear. Very clear. I have sold. You do whatever the heck you want to do. All right. Bitcoin, 45,324. Total 2. Okay. Still bouncing up there. Ethereum at 2,682, rotating around in the market. All that money that was inappropriate allocated to the crypto market, all the FOMO that went into Bitcoin, they are now shuffling around looking for the next exciting, shiny new thing. XRP still sitting there holding it. I'm still going to bet there's going to be a move up into this area, but then we do calm it down. Dow Jones, there you go. Still a green day in the markets, but really silver and gold really having pretty decent sized days. As for the probabilities of there being a interest rate hike or a cut or a continued pause, we're back to 93.3% over here now. We got as high as like 97% that it would be a pause. Oh, look at that. Every single meeting, they've got it. The probabilities are a cut at every single meeting now. 77% for there in March. 70. Let's see. Let's get this right. 83% probability that we'll have a cut there in March. And that has, the market is priced a 100% probability that we will cut in May. That is different from what we've seen in these past few days when we've been looking at this thing. That's a big shift that just happened in there. Something happened with the market and the expectations of there being more cutting happening. So, okay, there you go. Bitcoin struggling, altcoin market doing good. The day after ETFs, as we could see here, the ETFs are kind of struggling here this morning, but that could have been a preliminary support coming in there. We'll keep our eyes on it and check on it one more time before the stream is all over. Heading over there to the news, Bitcoin's Wall Street debut ends in tears for futures traders, and it leads to an $83 million of liquidations. Bitcoin ETFs clocked up some $4.6 billion in volumes on their first day, but market volatility hit future speculators as prices whipsawed. This number is a lie. And what it means, it should not be, remember we talked about this, to pay attention to flows, right? That this is not $4.6 billion of inflows. Like the real official numbers haven't come out. There were outflows that happened that will be counted into the volumes as well. The real number of actual inflows, which we haven't gotten yet, but I think does not want to be said, and I think it's the blaring thing in the room, it was massively underwhelming for what happened with the ETFs and total inflows that ended up happening. Maybe a couple $100 million, maybe. In the end. So once we get those, I'll retweet those over there on Twitter once I see something that looks like they're being legit. Eric has not given an official number. Eric Puchalis, waiting to see when he gives a real number of inflows and outflows, but he hasn't done it yet. Okay. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink backs the Ethereum ETF. Time to move on from Bitcoin. The asset management giant may now be looking to list an equivalent product for Ethereum. The native token of the Ethereum blockchain is part of its ongoing journey towards tokenization. How about that? All right, editor's choice over here on Cointelegraph. FTX creditors seek in-kind crypto repayments instead of 2022 low prices. MakerDAO's plan to bring back DeFi summer. This is why Bitcoin won't crash 30% after the ETF decision. Okay. 3 reasons why Bitcoin is still due further... What? 3 reasons why Bitcoin is still due further Bitcoin price upside. Tell me you're trying to use keywords for the Google algorithm without telling me you're trying to use keywords for the Google algorithm. 3 reasons why Bitcoin is still due further Bitcoin price upside. Okay. Vanguard users threaten to close accounts after firm blocks Bitcoin's ETFs. Again, there's a lot of people out there who are very mad because Vanguard is not allowing their clients to invest in any of the new Bitcoin ETFs. People are sitting there threatening, and they're saying, I'm going to be moving my retirement account out of Vanguard and sending it to Fidelity so I can put it into the Bitcoin ETFs. I sit here and I say to myself, there's a very real possibility that Vanguard is actually protecting them. That Vanguard is saying, you don't realize what's going on here. And we won't know until the future comes to be able to look back on it and have 2020 hindsight vision, which we all do when we look to the past. The big challenge is living in the actual moment because we have to take action in the actual real moment. When we look back on things, we all have perfect vision and we say, see, should have done this, should have done that. Of course, should have. But in the moment, you only have so much information at your fingertips. And I would not be surprised. I would put a non-zero chance on it that Vanguard is actually trying to protect their clients. That you watch this channel, Puppet Masters pulling the puppet strings, God simulation, whatever, that we get back here and we get there. And JP Morgan, BlackRock, the big banks are all dumping their Bitcoin onto people. And maybe Vanguard knows that. And Vanguard is saying, we're trying to protect you. And just 3 months ago, you were ultra bearish. You were screaming that things were going to go down. And then now you're euphoric and you're wanting to put your retirement account into it. With where we are, it's kind of a dangerous place to do that. So we're not going to support that. I think that's legit. I think that's actually possible. You hire them to take care of your money and manage your 401k. Because they're probably a little more trustworthy with your 401k than you are. I mean, right? I mean, that's why we do it. And so people are literally, it does make me a little sad that I think people are moving their accounts out of Vanguard to put it into places like Fidelity to YOLO their life savings in at the retracement level. That terrifies me for people. And being so blinded by the also non-zero chance that places like JP Morgan and them have all accumulated Bitcoin for a long time and they've waited to be able to get it distributed. Gary Gensler, who's you best friends with, right? The bankers. He approves it here for you. I just, of all the places to approve it, this is where it happens. I think there's a non-zero chance that Vanguard is actually looking out for their clients, and it makes perfect sense that retail wants to YOLO their whole life savings in at the retracement levels. It really does. The spot Bitcoin ETF receives official approval from the SEC. SEC says it's coordinating with the FBI to investigate compromised ETF tweet. They'll let enough time pass by to where none of us care about it anymore. CBOE approves listing of spot Bitcoin ETFs from multiple asset managers. By the way, did you see the tweet yesterday from Elizabeth Warren criticizing the SEC? It sounds like Gary Gensler has now been is politically getting thrown under the bus finally. That was his biggest supporter, Elizabeth Warren. That tweet that she made was unnecessary unless to send a political message that Gary, you are done now. You are a liability to us into the elections. You're done now. And I think that's it. Whether he is or isn't, it's all part of the political game. We don't know if that's been part of their agenda the whole time. Wait until elections, get the banks situated the way they want to be situated to be able to dump right here. Okay, let us do it. Now, Gary, we're done. That's what your job was for the last 2 years, for this particular moment in time. We don't know. These politicians are not nuts. They're like the most genius people in the world at manipulating our thoughts. So I don't know. But that was an interesting thing for Elizabeth Warren to do, who is obviously the number one supporter of Gary Gensler, publicly stating the SEC is wrong. Gary has now been pictured not only by the Republican Party, but now by the Democratic Party as not good. We've known that for a long time. But, spot Bitcoin ETFs, a week of high stakes and expectations. The first spot Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. begins trading in pre-market with double-digit gains. They were talking about BlackRock, which you had no reference point to go back to and say, well, what was it prior? I mean, how do you say this is up 25% when you don't have any data prior to it? And that's what it's talking about. The BlackRock one is up 25%. Yeah, but where were we? Okay. Yeah. Moving on. JP Morgan Chase profits falls. JP Morgan profit falls after $2.9 billion fee from regional bank rescues. Bank of America shares fall after bank reports lower fourth quarter profit hit by regulatory charge. Dow futures drop more than 150 points as earnings seasons kicks off. More inflation data ahead. Yeah, so like that's what I was saying. The pre-market data was definitely different than what we were seeing once the market actually opened. So that market actually opened kind of positively. We didn't check these guys out. Meta, Arc, and Netflix are the leaders of the morning. Losers are United Health, Roblox, and Coinbase. Forgot to go through those. How are yields doing these days? 2 and 1 and 4 and 3. All still hovering up there, that 5.25 area. 6 month dropping below 5. I think that's the first time I've seen it below 5 today. I could be wrong. Let's look at it. Yep, first time below 5. 6 month yield. Here's like, dude, who cares, bro? Okay, all right. Bitcoin, that's what you care about. Okay, back to the news. Wholesale prices unexpectedly fell 0.1% in December. Have we gotten more economic data real quick? Hold on, I'm going to check and see. Did the PPI come out today? Producer Price Index. Yesterday, inflation missed by 0.1%. Do we have PPI today? It was a beat year over year. Put this on the screen real fast. Forecast was 1.3, came in at 1%. Give you a historical basis of producer price index and where we are right now. There you go. So producer price index, I'll read the definition of it for you. The producer price index measures the change in the price of goods sold by manufacturers. It is a leading indicator of consumer price inflation, which accounts for the majority of overall inflation. A higher than expected reading should be taken as positive or bullish for the US dollar, where a lower than expected reading should be taken as negative or bearish for the US dollar. All right, so there you go. Comes in at 1% year over year. You can see historical norms of 2017 through 2020 and where we are right now. Obviously, all the inflation that we experience and the price rises that we've all seen all happen from these times in here. Inflation is rising at typical historical norms, if not even just a little bit less than back in here. But of course, none of this has escaped the system. The only way this stuff escapes prices is to see this flip negative and we actually start experiencing deflation in the actual market, which we haven't seen. We've just seen a slowdown of inflation. So, okay. That's a big figure. We talk about those. I know everybody's here for the Bitcoin ETF and all the crazy stuff, but that's a metric we normally cover in markets in the morning when these things happen. CPI and PPI. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin ETFs have a key difference from their stock fund counterparts. So there you go. Bitcoin ETFs have a key difference from their stock fund counterparts. The Securities and Exchange Commission pushed for the Bitcoin ETFs to have a key difference from major stock funds, and that decision's impact on how the fund trades. Funds trade will only be clear over time. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it's just talking about I'll get through a couple paragraphs. The Bitcoin funds that launched on Thursday are using a share redemption process that turns the underlying crypto into cash. Most ETFs primarily use an in-kind redemption process where the underlying asset does not have to actually be sold. While the rules around share redemptions do not directly impact the smaller trades that retail investors do in brokerage accounts, they come into play for the execution of larger trades made by institutions. There's a concern that using the cash-only redemption model could make the plumbing of the ETFs less efficient. Okay, whatever. All right. Citi to cut 20,000 roles in Fraser's bid to boost return. JP Morgan posts record net interest income and predicts that even more for this year. Bank of America's bond traders post a surprise drop as profit slumps, and BlackRock total assets top $10 trillion after a comeback quarter. Yay, banks. FFA to increase oversight of Boeing after 737 MAX 9 blowout. U.S. producer price fall again, boosting bets on Fed rate cuts. That's why we got it. We got the PPI to come out today showing inflation subsiding. And so with inflation subsiding, more probabilities of rate cuts. We don't need tighter for longer, is what the market is saying. BlackRock buys infrastructure firm. Bill Ackman is forming a think tank to probe higher education. I just don't care. All right. Houthis, I don't watch the news, so I don't know how to pronounce that. Houthis vow more. I apologize if you're from that region. I don't know it. Houthis vow more ship attacks after U.S. and U.K. airstrikes. Biden backs far-reaching Yemen strikes despite fear of wider war. Shipping advised to avoid key global trade waypoints. And who are they? Who are the Houthis being hit with U.S. and U.K. military? Oh, I don't know. Okay. All right, there you go. Little bit of support coming in there for those ETFs. It looks like. Let's look at volume. There has been volume to start it out, right? So you got volume over here in BlackRock. How about Fidelity? You got some volume. You got a little bit of volume over there in Fidelity as well. How about over there in ARK? Not really. You had one. You had it like at the opening minute, but opening 5 minutes, but nothing really beyond that. How about Grayscale? How you doing? Yeah, you got some, right? So like typical waves, right? Where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4, then you have the final one, right? So this is like your secondary test, right? That's your crashing, that's your selling climax, and then that's your secondary test. We're looking at 5-minute charts of a brand new asset in the stock market and ETF. What I'm saying could be complete nonsense, but when I'm just looking at that, it seems like it would make sense to find a little bit of support on these things pretty soon. I doubt they're going to go down in a straight line. I do think JP Morgan wants to distribute as much of this stuff as they possibly can. Crashing it, keeping the dream alive is what you want to do for as long as possible if you're in that circumstance. You want to let it just waddle around here for as long as possible. Keep that FOMO going, baby. All right, there you go. $45,500 for Bitcoin. Ethereum over 2,700. There goes Ethereum. Yay. Up and away. We got lots of green over here in the cryptocurrency market. Various assets doing that. Even Litecoin's a little bit alive. Litecoin and Ethereum Classic. SUI has been just crushing it lately. SUI was one of those ones. During the depths of all that stuff, you guys were knowing it. I was becoming a little bit of a SUI whale, and that was also a high dev activity coin, and that's why I'm not trying to say I'm a guru or have any secrets. I share everything with you guys. I've brought Santiment on the channel for development activity. I've shown you the developer report over there at Electra Capital. You guys have the tools at your fingertips. If you'd like to see case studies that I've done on all this stuff with these altcoins, check out the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com. Lots of stuff in here. Dare I say hundreds of hours put into that. Sure feels like it to figure all that stuff out, but I presented it all for you in beautiful, easy to read stuff. And of course, I'll audio record it to you as well. But yeah, not surprised. OP also, right? OP is one of those ones that OP is in an all-time high. So there you go. Optimism. And there you go. Fun times in crypto. If you're an altcoiner, if you're a Bitcoiner, probably holding on to a lot of hopium. Don't worry. We'll be waiting for you to come buy our altcoins off us later. You just hang tight. We'll be ready for you later. We'll just keep enjoying the show, and you let me know when you're ready to buy it off me. All right, I'll stop. By the way, if you caught the stream the other day where we were talking about the Tesla and the race cars, it seems that has become the highlight of 2024 so far. There have been meme videos already made of that. So, all right, that's it, guys. We're going to hop into the chat here. If you are tuning in for absolute incredible alpha that I had pre-brought up for you. I know, that's it. I got a video coming out about an hour after this live stream ends, so I'm going to try to keep the live stream under an hour. And members, we're doing it today. We have a live stream today. Those are very informal, guys. I don't bring anything to the table on that. I just let you guys kind of guide it, and we just kind of hang out for an hour doing whatever. There's no real formal anything to it with the members' live streams. So we'll do that today, and I will. The way I imagine it in my head is the members' live stream will be probably about an hour after Markets in the Morning ends, but I will post in the community notes an exact time for you. So an hour and a half after this live stream comes to a conclusion. All right, there we go. I'm hopping into the chat. We'll see what you guys have to say. A highly emotional time in the market, a lot of mixed feelings, a lot of copium on Twitter is what I'm seeing from Bitcoiners on why price hasn't gone up. You know, is this just a sell the news event? I've treated it as such because I expected that to hit that with the ETF. I have treated it as such. Again, I have sold all of my FTX Bitcoin. All the stuff we fought for the whole time, it's there. Sold. The only thing I've left is my 35% Bitcoin from 2018 and 19, because the 65% of it was all sold right in there in February of 2021. So I got that. There we go. All right. Michael Rolling. I'm hopping into the chat, guys. We'll just be hanging out for the rest of this time, and I'll try to keep it under 25 minutes. Depends on how delayed I get, but I'm going to try to get through it relatively quickly. Again, video coming out about an hour after the stream ends. All right, Michael Rolling. Thank you, BCB. I appreciate you. With the generous super chat and just kind words. Michael, thank you very much. I appreciate it, bro. Ben Willis. Hey, BCB. First of all, thank you for the super chat. This is, you're a voice of sanity with a market of madness, and it's appreciated. How do you gauge when to scale out of recent assets with no historical data, such as TIA or OP? Base it on percentage appreciation. Yeah, so that's going to be an individual thing for everyone and how you plan on doing that, because you don't have that historical data to really go back on. Like the question he's asking, how do you do anything on that? There's the launch of the coin. Now up 600%. What do you do, right? And that is the challenging part, right? Until bigger waves really form on here, I don't have big enough waves in here to form clarity, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a big pull down, because we don't have historical data to go back and say, hey, here's what happened right here. We had a bubble, crash, here. Right, we don't have that historical data to go back and look on. So on anything new, the way I'm treating it is by monitoring the whole market. That there's going to come a point in time. Oh, come on, that's a little silly. All right. Watching the whole market is the way I'm going to treat it on these right here. Right, taking little nips out of it here and there. Locking in something. I mean, if you're up 500 or 600%, it's very easy to just sell a quarter of it, and boom, you got your whole initial investment back, and just let the rest ride. But that's a personal choice. And like, if you think of something else, right? The way I'm treating them is that I'm watching the entire market. And so once the entire altcoin market is signaling to me, it's time. It doesn't matter where these are at, just because I don't have any historical measurements to be able to go back on these and check. Otherwise, like if things like this showed up, like this, right? Then I have some like measurements that I can say, all right, well then this might be our last wave, and I'm going to base it off of this wave, right? But you just do not have that here, right? So there's nothing. So it's a blind crapshoot. And to buy it, it's the same way. It's like, if you're going to buy this here, like, you just don't know. You don't know, and it's already up 600%. It's harder when these things get up this far. So that is the challenge. You do walk in a little bit more blind with them. Thank you, Ben. Chris and Akuma. I think I got it right. I gifted 5 BCB memberships. Brother, thank you. I appreciate it, man. And the people in the chat do, too. Blockfella, my man, dude. BCB, my dude. God bless you and all that you do. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct and tends to produce ferocity towards those who are not regarded as members of the herd. Ooh, deep, man. Deep. I like that. I like that. I like thinking it from that matter. Collective fear stimulates herd instinct, and it tends to produce ferocity towards those who are not regarded as members of the herd. I like it. Because I'm the one usually not in it. But thank you, brother. And then another super chat after that, Blackfellow. Thank you. He says, question, new all-time high versus retracement evidence. Based on Elliott, we can clearly see 5 waves up from 15K to 48K for either wave 1 or wave A to the GP. GP. Why my brain is not registering GP. Why am I not registering GP? So next is ABC down for either wave 2 or wave B. Big correction. Yeah. So, yeah, and then again, that's also if you're thinking that this is going to continue into a new bull run, or if the peak of the retracement of Bitcoin, like Ethereum did, right? The peak of it was the ETF. And that this is a major ABC, A, B, C. Stock market. Right? I know a lot of people presume it's going to go to new highs. And like, let's just say this too. Like, okay, first of all, I do lean towards this being more likely just because of what's happening with the Dow Jones. Okay. That's my whole thesis, really. For there to even be an altcoin run up happening here into the retracement levels, it would have to mean there's something different about the market than there was from past markets. We don't have the altcoin run happen here. We don't have the altcoin run happen right back in here, right? When we get back to the 618. All the altcoin runs take place once we're getting into all-time highs. They happen once we're getting through all-time highs. So for altcoin run to actually happen right in here would be vastly different than what we saw in 2016, 17, and vastly different from 2020 and 2021 for it to start right here. But it would mean we're in peak euphoria. And what did people do in peak euphoria? When do the laser eyes and diamond hands come out? When do the big news narratives come out? Elon Musk buying Tesla. They're happening at the peaks. Money pours in, money's excited, money starts to chase yield and run around in circles all over the place of the market, right? This was your big news story. We got back to the retracements, boom, it gets hit. Come on, everybody. It gets hit with the big news narrative. And if we do see the altcoins go bananas here, it does not set you up like it did in the past. It does not set this thing up to go on big runs because that's not what happens. The altcoins shouldn't be running until Bitcoin gets into a new all-time high. So if the altcoins all start running here and it gets really wild, which we're seeing things running hard. We've got lots of stuff, 600%, 700% up. And if it really gets carried away for the whole market, Ethereum's moving up, $2,700, bam. This would be different. And like it would be setting it up for things like I've talked about the whole time, that it would be a big retrace, just like we've seen here, this retrace right here, just like we see in this retrace right here, the altcoin market goes crazy. And so does that make this whole thing the big retrace, the big euphoria, the big event, and then it all rolls over with the United States stock market. So even if you do, let's ignore all of that stuff. Let's just say that you are actually a bull and you believe Bitcoin is going to start a new bull cycle. If you believe Bitcoin is going to start a new bull cycle, then you probably shouldn't believe that the altcoin market is going to do anything right now, because that's not historically what happens. Historically, we get back and you don't actually see anything really big happen for the altcoin market till you get to a new all-time high. If your thesis is Bitcoin will eventually go to a new all-time high, then you probably should not have the idea that altcoins are going to be running right now. My idea of the altcoins running right now is that I think this is a macro retrace for Bitcoin while we're back in this. And what do you know? The biggest macro event for Bitcoin happens into the retrace. So even if you're a bull, even if you are a bull on Bitcoin, okay, on why this should be a concerning level, even if you are bullish, which I even posted in my stuff when I started selling Bitcoin back in here, is that even in the most bullish of circumstances, you would still see likely a $30,000 to $32,000 Bitcoin price. You can go back and you can live in 2018 and 2019. Where does Bitcoin go back to? It retraces. Where? Just barely pokes above the 618 retracement level for 1 day. For 1 day. Go back and live in 2015, 16, and 17. Whoop. What's it hit? 618 retracement level. Boom. All the way back down. Now, what's interesting about this one, right? Okay. This is that same one that we're always using on here, right? In this example of this exact thing that happened on here, Bitcoin in this fractal goes back to its 618 retracement. Then it rejects from there and heads back to backtest the previous support that was previously a resistance. And we've shown that on BLX, right? That is what typically happens, right? That you go back and backtest these things. I don't know if BLX is going to perfectly nail it because their charts only update once a day. So I'm assuming the wick will not hit. The wick does not quite hit, but right, this is that same thing. And then it goes back to backtest the previous range happening in there. And that's what we see in all these things, right? That's what you see back in here too, right? So if you're like a mega bull and your thoughts are, this thing is definitely going into a new bull run, you don't have to have the same opinion of me that I'm worried that there's a bigger problems for Bitcoin. Even if you're a mega bull and you think we are following previous recovery structures, even in those recovery structures, this one right here, it went to the 618 retracement and then it threw itself back to backtest. And so what do you mark peaks of ranges with? What do you mark bottoms of ranges with? You mark bottoms of ranges with complete fear. Did this bottom of this range, this last one, was this range marked with a lot of fear? We just came out of this range, right? Even though we didn't break the range low, the bottom of a range is marked with extreme fear. Go relive really quick. Go relive in August, September, and October. How were you feeling at that time? Probably weren't feeling very good at that time, right? Bottoms of ranges are marked with very big fear. What was going on at the top of the range? Anybody remember back here? April? Bitcoin to $1 million in 90 days by Balaji on Twitter. Everybody buying into it. No, not really. A lot of people were pretty jerks about it, which was good. It was good. We're growing up a little bit in regards to that. But $1 million in 90 days for Bitcoin. We're doomed at the bottom of the range. What also happened at the bottom of the range? SEC sues Binance and Coinbase at the bottom of the range. Negative news at the bottom, negative sentiment at the top, overly optimistic sentiment at the top. Overly optimistic sentiment at the top. The tops of ranges are usually marked by extreme expectations that end up happening in there. And it happens to occur at the 618 retracement. So even if you're a huge mega bull on Bitcoin and you think it is going to start a whole new cycle, really taking a big gamble here that thinking it's not going to at least pull back down here. Every recovery cycle for Bitcoin has gotten back to that 618 retracement level and initially rejected it. So keep that in mind. You don't even have to think. You can totally think this stuff is nonsense, and that's fine. I understand why somebody would think that's nonsense. it's fine. But even for the super mega bull things, you would be looking. That's how it's always happened. So unless this time is different, which I know everybody thinks is with ETFs, just keep that in mind. Now Bitcoin's really trying to dance with 44,000 into the back end of the 44s now. So anyway, I got to keep going. I spent way too much time going on a tangent in a different direction. I don't even remember what the question was. Oh, all-time highs versus retracement. Based on Elliott wave, we can clearly see 5 ways up from 15K. Let's see if that is what that is. 1. Yeah, that would satisfy. Yeah, right. And so this would be wave 4 consolidation, right? Right. So what would a 4.236 extension do? Still has a little higher. It's still a little bit more, but either way, you'd practically be there, right? But yeah, right. And that's normally what you get: wave 4 consolidation or an expanded flat, right? Or running flat. That would be a running flat because this would be a higher high, but maintaining the support. So this would be a running flat, which is only in wave 4. Well, no, it's not only in wave 4, but it would not show up in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The biggest misconception, people still do it because it's like the first thing they Google when they see on the internet, is to see that wave 3 has to be the longest wave. It's not true. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. That's the official rule of Elliott wave theory. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. As we showed, this was $9,000. This was $12,000. This one way more than that, but it's not the shortest wave. So yeah, if that, possibly. Bitcoin really dancing with 40, trying to go to 44s now. As Ethereum's at 2,700. There you go. Okay, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I am friendo. I'm friend of God. Okay, there you go. Hey, thank you. These are very generous, guys. Thank you very much. I'm friend of God. Appreciate it, man. Hey, BCB, thanks for being a real one. Do you think Riot blockchain follows Bitcoin? Haven't heard about your fish in a while. The fish are good. Nothing really has changed with the fish tank. I think what has happened is so many fish have gotten in there. The ecosystem's kind of maxed out on how many fish can be in there. I think it's just kind of at its limit at this point. It's not like growing massively like it used to. It's just kind of staying with the same kind of number of fish that it's kind of been for a while. Whether or not that just means the babies are getting eaten more, I don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of staying still. But everything has been completely good with the fish. I know I need to give you guys an update video on that. And I always like to do that after I clean the tank, so I look like an incredible aquarium keeper. I haven't cleaned it in like 2 weeks, so it needs to be cleaned. So I'll try to get you guys a little video the next time I do. I don't know what Riot blockchain is. But just in general, crypto tends to all follow each other. So I'd think so. 44, we're in the 44s now for Bitcoin. JP Smith, member, welcome, my brother. I appreciate it. Moon Man with the super chat. Thank you. Philip Man, gifted 1 BCB membership. Thank you, brother. Crypto here. Hey, big boy, what are your price targets for SUI and OP? I actually don't have price targets for either one of them. Like I said earlier, I'm treating them with them both being new coins. It's going to be about tracking the rest of the market at the same time and finding the runaway moment at the same time. Muammer, BCB, can you look at... I don't know what that is. Hold on. Hold on. I want to do it off stream. I'm assuming that's just a stock or something. Right. And a lot of times people ask me to look at stocks, these things I haven't ever spent any time with. Oh, Dillard's. Do you know what Dillard's is? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just a lot like the rest of the market, right? Just bubbly. Oh, bubbly. Just previous range extensions, right? Where are you? Pretty far. I mean, it's just hard. Like when it's in stuff like that, these could just be large distribution ranges that,
go either way. Like just from a percentage standpoint, what are you going for? That's the thing that we always ask ourselves, right? And that's the thing that we always forget. If you're like in here and you're like, I'm trying to go for like up here, well then okay, well, you're going for good sized percentages. Are you going for a 4.236 extension? If so, what are you going for? 34%? What are you risking that, it pulls all the way back down to supports, right? So you're risking a 60% fall for a 30% gain, right? And that from a risk reward standpoint, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to go for the 4.236 extension or something like that, based off the 2015 to 2020 range, like if that's where you're going, and just the length of the downside, just there's not much there, and just there's this climbing and this weakness, and this is a playground you wouldn't find me playing in. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell you what to do with your 401k. That is a personal decision you would have to make for yourself. Ben Heller says, Kramer just called major top for Bitcoin on Twitter. Yeah, but he's like flip-flopping every single day. So I know you guys want that. I know you guys want that. The reality is you hit the 618 retracement on super crazy news of ETF launch, and it clearly got rejected by it. Moonman, thank you very much, bro. He says, hey, BCB, thanks for navigating my waffling retail thoughts over the last few months. Can you look at the Matic chart? From my perspective, it looks similar to XRP, but on a smaller time horizon. Yeah, no, I mean, I own Matic. I mean, I own most Ethereum layer 2s, right? So this would be Wyckoff, and then you're working on Sign of Strength to try to get that break. So okay, I'm gonna have to move really quick on the rest of this, guys. I got way too far behind, and I got to get it wrapped up because there's so many more things I have to do. I have to get the video done, and then we got to do members in the morning, or members live stream, whatever we'll call it, members in the morning. I don't care. Kenny Marshall. Oh wait, I missed one. Thank you, Moon Man. Crypto for Sweden. Hey BCB, I'm a lurker. When members only. Keep up the good work. P.S. We need more frog. Oh yeah, I guess that was earlier today. That was 15 minutes after the stream went live, so I've already answered that. I will post in the community tab, which I don't know if you can see community tab on PC, but if you're using your phone, you'll see it come across in your subscriptions feed. Kenny Marshall, mostly lurker here, been here since the start of your channel. Remember the 22.5 days. I know your XRP price targets based on fibs. Would you share targets for HBAR? We're gonna have to save that for another day. Going through like individual altcoins, guys, just because of the time constraints that we have in here. The first concern is with the retrace levels. I mean, it's gonna be otherwise 4.236 extension of the entire range, right? And I teach you guys how to do all that. You guys know how to use fibs. I think a lot of times you guys just want me to do it on the channel. You know how to do it. I put all the tools in your hands. You know exactly how I do it. The first concerns are going to be the retrace levels for the market cap. Beyond that, it's going extensions beyond the market cap. Thank you, Kenny. Jeremiah Coker, BCB, just have to say thanks. I came in April of 2021 and I got wrecked. It came at the peak of the market. I stayed and enjoyed sweet gains, now largely thanks to you. Hit the like button. Jeremiah, thank you very much. That's what happens too, right? So there's a lot of people pouring into the market right now on the ETF news. They're buying right now, right? There's always a new class. People do not pour into this market at bottoms. It does not happen. They pour in at tops. And that's the entry fee to crypto for everybody. Ryan Doherty, with Bitcoin getting to retracement, shouldn't we be concerned with alts too? Weren't the alts done when Bitcoin reached the 702 in the past bull runs? I have no concern. You'll see my video that comes out today. No. And I get it. Everybody, lots of fear. This too shall pass. Hey BCB, the bottom is going to drop out of the market when you're a major bull. Okay, everybody, when you are greedy, that's when the bottom is going to drop out of it. This too shall pass. Hey, like Bitcoiners right now. Hey, BCB, can you give your perspective about the halving on Bitcoin? Well, why would that not make Bitcoin rally dramatically? Go check my Twitter feed. Just, I've done many videos on this, many videos about it. It's a complete urban legend myth. It's something to keep the narrative of Bitcoin going. That Bitcoin is totally tied to broader markets. And guess what, everybody? Your ETFs that you got for Bitcoin just tied Bitcoin to the stock market even more. Imagine when portfolios are getting liquidated in the stock market and people have ETFs of Bitcoin in their portfolios and those liquidations happen. Imagine if we go into a recession. I know many of you were not even here in the great financial crisis. What's going to happen when people call in and say, hey, I need my retirement fund now. Hey, I need to sell that thing and liquidate that retirement fund because I need some money because the times are tough. Bitcoin is going to be tied to the stock market by a factor way more than it is already now. But the halving is totally an urban myth, 100%. Lots of videos put out on that. Go check my Twitter. Click on the replies feature. So there's posts, replies, highlights, media, likes. Hit on replies. And here I'll post this. I'll post the link. Copy link. Live streaming. There's the X post right there in the chat. And that post is from May 20th. Does Bitcoin operate on magical 4-year cycles that have to do with the block reward halving? Get ready to have your world flips upside down if you believe it does, because I'm about to build the case that it's an urban myth. So that was posted there on May 20th of 2023. But of course, people who watch this channel know that's been disproven a very long time ago. It is just when there's nothing to talk about with Bitcoin, the narrative shifts to Bitcoin halving. And now that we're beyond the ETF, get ready, guys. That's going to be the only thing they have to talk about. We're going to be talking about the halving coming up in April. There's nothing else to talk about. The ETF flopped. The ETF was a flop. Now it's about halving, keeping the hope alive, keeping the hopium alive, moving on to talking about the block reward halving in April, which we even have data to show. Like, even in the circumstances, it was still hundreds of days after the halving before anything happened with Bitcoin, because it didn't have to do with the halving. It had to do with the stock market. But, whatever. It's going to be halving talk now. I'm just going to refer them to that tweet thread every single time that it gets asked about. But thank you, this two-shot pass. Jacob, new member, welcome. Appreciate it. Michael Sakura, new member, welcome. Jax, thank you very much, brother. Part of the 22.5-cent crew. Thanks for making the ride awesome, brother. Would you mind looking at Optimism? You mentioned it a while back. I hadn't really been following it, but it's doing great. Yeah, well, it's in all-time highs. That's about it. All-time highs for Optimism. Layer 2 for Ethereum. Good stuff. Yeah. Koopa, new member, welcome. Jacob Gorney, welcome. 5 months, dude. Don't lose those emojis, man. Thanks for bringing unpopular opinions every day. You're welcome. You're welcome. If I ever show up missing, it's the maxis or the banks, guys. I'm completely mentally healthy. Just know that revenge me. If something weird happens, like I just get sick and just croak over or I get in a car accident, revenge me. It wasn't me. Ski Rich, thanks for the efforts, BCB. Most of my bag is at Ethereum, and I'm trying to decide if I should cycle AVAX into Ethereum Classic. Do you see much left in AVAX? Yeah, geez, you're trying to tell me what to tell you to do with your portfolio, dude. AVAX had a very nice run, 467%. There's still higher to go for it to complete itself, but this is where you have to go look at your own stuff, figure out percentages, and say, is it worth rotating? When people ask me, like, hey, I'm going to rotate out of my Solana and rotate into XRP or something like that, I'm saying, well, do you know why Solana pumped the way it did in the first place? No, it just went up 1,000% for the sake of going up 1,000%. But no, not really. It was a big catch-up play that happened on Solana to get back to market averages of where the rest of the market is, where like Bitcoin is, XRP is. And so rotating into XRP, while of course XRP is my large bag, that's not the purpose of the rotation in that perspective. If you don't understand why Solana pumped, it pumped to return to mean. This one obviously has gotten a lot further than a lot of other stuff has gotten in here. But you're going to have to decide which ones you think. Like the fact that you're saying Ethereum Classic, it means because you've watched it pump a lot in the last 2 days and you're getting kind of YOLO over the Ethereum Classic thing. While Ethereum Classic was like one of my best performers in 2021. It was truly amazing. It was fantastic. It was one of my rotations that I did. It was the one that hit the biggest. It went up like 20x after that. And that was just fantastic for Ethereum Classic. Will retail do the exact same thing that they did in 2021, where they've done in the past, where when Ethereum's running, dummies go and buy Ethereum Classic. And so we have to front run the dummies by getting into Ethereum Classic first. I don't know if that's going to happen again, right? Like this cycle around it's been a lot more not so focused on being like, hey, I think privacy is an important thing, so I'm going to focus on privacy. Or, hey, I think dummies are going to run into Ethereum Classic when Ethereum pumps. But it's more about like having more of like methodical approaches that could be backed by data. And that's why I've been doing a lot of this stuff here where we're talking about developer activity and talking about percentage drawdowns and all that stuff. And then I'm focusing way more on this type of stuff. So it's not so much that I'm throwing darts at a wall of balloons and hoping that I pop a balloon that has a prize in it, and the odds not being in my favor, but trying to increase the number of prizes that are in those balloons. I definitely don't have the expectation at all that I'm going to end up having every balloon that I hit with my dart is going to have a prize in it, because that's not statistically probable. It's very statistically improbable that you are going to do perfect, and nearly statistically impossible if you think that your portfolio is only going to consist of Solana, Dogecoin, and Mana from 2021, and that you would have had only those 3 assets and gone to the moon. So statistically improbable. There was just not consistent data that would have landed you on those. But there are things that could have built like a 10 coin portfolio or a 20 coin portfolio using a lot of different data. And that would smooth out the average of all of them to outperform the top 20. And for me, that's developer activity, percentage drawdowns, and circulating supply inflation metrics to try to build that. And those are the things that I'm focusing on rather than focusing on things like Ethereum Classic, which just boom. Just shot right in 2 days, right? I mean, just up 50%. So there's of course excitement, like, hey, I'm gonna go buy that one now. But I mean, we could draw trend lines on it and say, dang, look at this, let's go. But that's all we really got. That's all you really got on it. There's no developer activity on Ethereum Classic. I don't even think there's a community on Ethereum Classic. The Twitter account comes and goes. It'll go like 6 months without posting anything. The price will move. I'm going to bet you the Ethereum Classic Twitter account's finally active, probably after being dormant for 6 months. It's just not, I don't know if I'd go running after that one. Who knows? That mindset did work for me in 2021. So I know where you're going with it, right? It ended up being one of my biggest hitters. Like my biggest hitters of 2021 were Ethereum Classic, and Cardano. Those were my 3 biggies. And of course Bitcoin, but the math actually wasn't that great on Bitcoin. People think Bitcoin did great percentage wise. It actually wasn't that great for Bitcoin's bull run. The biggies were Cardano, Ethereum, and Ethereum Classic. So that was my mentality then. So I understand where you're going. We'll find out, right? But as for AVAX, it's up to you. You can look at the market cap. I got to move on from this. So the market cap has retraced 50%. So now, and it's gotten right back into those April of 2022 price levels, right? So it just depends on what you're wanting to chase beyond that. Is it going full cycle? Is it pausing? Is it going to pull back like most things do after a long Wyckoff accumulation, big fat breakout? They pull back and they back test these ranges. you know, great ride. But there's other stuff that hasn't yet, right? Like Atom, for example, hasn't gotten out of there yet, right? I don't think DOT has gotten out of there, right? DOT hasn't gotten out. Has a DOT market cap. Right? Still room to go. Not only just to get to April, but to, you know, get back into real retraces. So $44,667 for Bitcoin. Looks like this is probably causing some liquidations. Let's take a look. Bitcoin liquidations. Not terrible. Not terrible. $35 million in liquidations in the last hour. 60 million in the last 4 hours. ARK keeps on going. They're all going. There you go. BlackRock. HODL. VanEck. Yeah, I mean, it's just a story for all of them. Okay. Okay, Russell Rod says, can you look at XRP over total 3, please? XRP has been oversold, is now crossing over with a bullish divergence, hoping for a weekend pump. Cross fingers. I don't know about timing, a weekend pump. XRP over total 3. Yeah, this thing's just reversed ugly. Let's see. Yeah, so there's a bull divergence right in there on the daily time frame. Yeah. Back to a support level. Let's see if there's anything to do with fibs on here. And back to the last fib. Maybe. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Russell. Eric Smith, new member, welcome. Jax, new member, welcome. Ben Koss. So let's say 49K was the top for 2024 in Bitcoin, and for this cycle. I don't see how any alts will reach 4.236 without Bitcoin attracting new capital. We'll see. We're in an area where Bitcoin can constantly attract new capital. This is retail euphoria. All it's going to take would be any type of move back up in Bitcoin. Oh, we're back at it. We're going. Oh. This is retail euphoria zone right in here. And anytime we poke in here, it's going to be euphoria in zone. But I've already got a video recorded today. You guys will see what I see. I'll get it out within an hour after this stream ends. Talking all about altcoins and Bitcoin dominance. And here, I'll give you a little treat. If you happen to be in this stream this late. Bitcoin dominance. I guarantee you there are a bunch of people who capitulated their altcoins into Bitcoin in the last couple of days. And this thing on the Bitcoin dominance just flipped. Okay. Ismail Salas, can you check Tron? Yeah, guys, I appreciate the super chat, man. Tron, I mean, it's guys, if you're looking for something different throughout the whole market, acting different between coins, it's all in the same stuff. It's all waiting for it all to pop, right? You know, you get Ethereum to go, everything goes all at the same time. Tron's pretty much retraced a whole the whole 2022 and 2023 fall. Tron's just like back up in here, like everything else, but nothing specific about Tron that makes it any different, right? I mean, you can look at it. So there's Tron. Crash, retrace, reaccumulation, back into just the 50% region, right? So it's hanging out right in the middle. If the altcoins break out, Tron will likely go with it. Thank you, Ismail. Guys, I'm going to try to avoid altcoin stuff just because I gotta finish this thing. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. It's longer than I expected already. Marcus W. Based on the market cap chart of Bitcoin, the current top has exactly hit the 702 based on the April of 2021 Euphoria top, probably last cycle's real top. Yeah, I've seen that. Other guys have shown me that too. It's a thing to. Right, the technical top of all indicators point to that the peak of the market was actually April of 2021, and that the altcoins, of course, had the euphoria into May of 2021, and that was the true alt season of the market. May of 2021, Elon Musk going on Saturday Night Live, all that stuff, and he's talking about, if you're using the peaks from back in here, May of 2021, if you use the peak from April of 2021, the true technical top on the actual market caps, we see that. Where is the technical top of the market? So here's the peak of 2017 and 18, right? There's the true peak. There we go. Kaplunk. That's the peak. Go over here to 2021. Here's the technical top. Boom. Kerplunk. When is this? This is April of 2021. So what he's pointing out to is that even though we've hit the 618 retracement level on the market cap of Bitcoin and on the price chart of Bitcoin, we've even also hit the 702 retracement based on the technical top, which was actually April. This, of course, adds a little not scientific, because what are we using? We're using this when we know when the price goes higher. So it's a little bit convoluted here on doing it like this, but there's no question. It's true. That was the technical top, April of 2021. Bitcoin has gotten back to the retracement levels. And JP Morgan has said, hey, can we sell you our Bitcoin? And everybody, and all the anti-banker people, at least the people from 2013 to 2019 were anti-bank people. The Laser Eyes and Diamond Hands and Michael Saylor crew, they're all like, I freaking love JP Morgan. And yes, please sell us your Bitcoin, dump on us. We would love for you to do it for us right here. And that's what they're getting. So yeah. Yeah. Tell me how you really feel, BCB. Tell me how you really feel about the Bitcoin narrative and what it is today compared to what I've only been in this market for 7 years. I wasn't even here during like the grassroots time of 2013 and 2014 and 15. I have watched it. Those people would spit on the people who have the major voices for Bitcoin right now and the love of JP Morgan and BlackRock. It's not the same group of people who have the voice of Bitcoin today than it did just 7 years ago. Block proof support, member for 7 months, brother 702 crew says, big respect for formulating a personal exit strategy and then having the conviction to execute it. Salute. Thank you very much. It's this. People really, didn't really know if they could see what I could see when it came to Bitcoin moving back to retracement levels. There was never hopium on the channel. Everything was always, we're pulling up all the moving averages, pulling up the indicators, oversold stuff, everything. Like, look, even in a worst case scenarios, we're going back to retracement levels, and that's where we go. And that's how I'm going to execute my plan on Bitcoin. Is back to retracement levels. And so we get here and it's been executed. And the thing is, like, to prove like I have experience in these types of moments was just really kind of outlining what sentiment would be like when we got back to the retracement levels too, that there would be extreme euphoria, that I would be characterized as the enemy, that, if you go read the comments, there's a lot of nice comments, but there's a lot of pushback, right? There's a lot of pushback right now. For saying, hey, look, we're here, we're finally here. And I guarantee there's a lot of people who have said they're going to take profits at the retrace levels, but they just haven't publicly said it yet because they're scared to say it. There's going to be backlash to anybody doing it. Fortunately for my brand, I've learned, F it, take the backlash. You deal with a little bit of crap for a minute, but it pays dividends in the long run. And this is just, it doesn't surprise me that retail euphoria hits, of really positive news narrative hits, and that, you're going to be the bad guy here. Considered the bad guy and irresponsible to go to the top, and then, we're all on the same team, and then now the bad guy. But, you fortunately don't have to deal with those types of things in your position. That's a me problem that I like to complain about on the YouTube channel. You guys are like, I'm sick of hearing it. And I know you are, because you tell me in person, hey, BCB, don't worry about all the haters, man. I was like, okay. But we're here. And the retail sentiment did exactly what it should have done. And that's what I've seen. Euphoria. And you had a major bank put laser eyes on its profile. Franklin Templeton. $1.5 trillion in assets management, put laser eyes on his profile. But those are top. That's top stuff. Halving is real. Okay. Good luck, Corey. Total down since ETF. Price can't move up. I don't know. We saw total 2 is up. For pin. Black Cat, if XRP doubles in market cap, does price double too, or is there a different formula? Happy Black Friday. Well, this is the exact same. It's not technically the exact same because there's a 7% inflation, right? So it'd be very close to double, like within 1% of double. If it happened overnight, like if in one day the price of XRP shot up 100%, so would the market cap. Market cap is circulating supply multiplied by current price. In real-time productions, check out Jim Cramer's post. Well, yesterday, Jim Cramer's flip-flopping like a fish, and he's probably told to do these things. Yeah, everybody was, 2 days ago, everybody was happy to tell me that Jim Cramer was like, what was he say? That this is the top. But then Jim Cramer says, well, wait a minute. No, a top's never coming in. Nobody posted, hey, he said that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's flopping like a fish, right? Kevin Bremer, new member, welcome. Lenosek, new member, welcome. Niall Fernandez, thanks for everything, BCB. India blocks web access to Binance, OKX, and KuCoin. Planned by the puppet master, ? They were warned and given a timeline by the government, though. Rough times, man. Thank you very much. It was very generous. Yeah. Well, Binance blocks me. OKX blocks me. KuCoin blocks me. So, yeah, I'm not allowed to use those either. Daniel Quick says, how is ADA looking? It looks like the rest of the market. I can't pull up individual altcoins right now, guys. But it's not doing anything. It's waiting for the altcoin market to gain steam. It moved up with all the altcoins as they all were shooting up together. It's acting like the altcoin market. Whiskey Doge. Right. Whiskey Dog? No, Whiskey Dog 6. Welcome. Joshua. And on that note, Whiskey 2, we hope you're okay, buddy, out there. We haven't seen you in a while. Joshua Gisk. Thank you very much, brother. Welcome, new member. And Andres Gutierrez, member. Welcome. All right, guys. Boom! Made it to the end. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Bitcoin 44,432. I need to get this video live or else it's going to be irrelevant. I'm calling the top in my video, and we're just continuing to fall and fall and fall. I got to get my video out. All right. Check out blockchainbacker.substack.com. Check out all the case studies we've done forward-looking into 2024 and how things are going. Check out bcbacker.com for over 40 videos and 11 hours of content from me. I hope that you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. Cash Me Outside gifted a BCB membership. Thank you. And I will check in with you guys again soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Members, we'll have a stream here in a little while, and then keep your eyes open for the next hour for a video to come out. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.